Of those 54% that graduate, only actually pass the HESPA test that we have right now. The HESPA test is a test that is a formula for what the standards we should be setting for our kids. And Zach Yamla, the former head of Essex County College, has said numerous times, we have our honor students from many of our high schools going to Essex County College and having to enter into remedial classes because our education system continues to fail the genius of our children. In addition to that, we have numerous schools that are years 5, 6, 7, and more of not meeting adequate yearly progress as laid out by No Child Left Behind. What this means, again, is a very low standard of success. Our schools we have too many schools that are chronically failing. But what this means in real context is that these are children in urban areas, overwhelmingly minority, that we are trapping within a reality that affords them few economic avenues to the levels of success that we need in a global knowledge-based economy. The reality is we have an urban crisis in America, and also particularly here in New Jersey, of a proportion that is stunning, shocking, morally bankrupt, and that is corrupting all the ideals which our nation claims to hold. When our children call to our consciousness every single morning in our public schools and speak of a nation that is liberty and justice for all, we are failing them year after year after year after year. And we are locking people within our state into cycles of poverty and lack of opportunity. This act before us right now will not solve this problem. I repeat, the act before us right now will not solve this problem. We have failed tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of children in the state of New Jersey, not for lack of action and definitely not lack of spending money, but we have failed in the great state of New Jersey to live up to our constitutional commitment to fulfill a thorough and efficient education for every one of our children. We should be ashamed of ourselves. When we talk about the high levels of crime in cities like Newark and Camden, when we talk about the high pockets of poverty, those are directly relational to our inability to provide the geniuses of our children with high-quality education systems. Now, this act is not going to change that. What's going to take it is all of us coming together and willing to embrace avenues of change that we all know are proven and necessary to address these problems. In the city of Newark right now, we have an unbelievable coming together of unions and management. I talk to Joe Del Grasso so much now, I'm beginning to think he's my best friend. As well as people from other sections of our city that have not worked together. I'm confident in the next 5 years that there are adults in Newark that are willing to put it all on the line to try to reform our school system and finally, frankly, give our children what they deserve, not to mention the incredible amounts of money the state is investing in our school system. But that will take time. It is not going to happen next year. It is not going to happen in 2 years. It's not going to happen for every one of our children in 3 years. But it will happen. This is our moral obligation. However, right now, in the present, with the fierce urgency of this moment, we have an opportunity to liberate the potential of a very small group of our children. There is a desperation in Newark that many people do not realize. I have to face parents day after day, week after week, who go through unbelievable hurdles under the desperate attempts to try to liberate their children from schools that they are forced to go to by state law, by our zip codes. Understand this, Montclair, Maplewood, towns surrounding Newark have people that they pay with tax dollars to follow around minority children to see where they go home to. Because it is a common practice in our state, as is seen with a Wall Street Journal's education writer in Newark, grew up in Newark. Her family did the same thing, used a fake address in a neighboring town to get their children out. We see parents sitting in lotteries for charter schools with tears in their eyes, praying to God that they will be liberated and given an opportunity to go to a safe school. I've seen parents turn off their cable, get second jobs, do whatever they can, begging and pleading, even me, to find them a scholarship to get out of a failing institution. There is a consistent infantilization of poor people that goes on in America that's disgusting. To think that a parent of a child, no matter what their income, does not know what's best for their kid. Stop any parent in my city and ask them the schools that educate children, and they know what they are. They're Harriet Tubman. They're Abington Avenue. They're Hollister Street, Ann Street. They're Kip Academy. They're North Star. It's no secret that what Link School does, or what St. Benedict's does in the city of Newark. Don't infantilize my parents and tell me that they don't know how to make choices about what's best for their kids. What this Scholarship Act does is it provides a small amount of my children the opportunity right now, this coming year, to get out of the deep, dark quicksand of despair and find the solid high ground of hope for their children. I hear criticisms of this bill that somehow it's going to hurt our system. That is not true. Me and others are neck deep right now in making some bold decisions about how to change our school system. Many people think that our children have some moral obligation to stay in failing schools so that they can help other children. If someone wants to make that argument, then I tell you right now, put the kids from Summit and other schools into poor failing districts where they have to be social workers as opposed to people that find out what's best for their kids. Because the truth of Newark, as it is for any town, is parents who are connected, who are elected, and trust me, go through the elected officials in the city of Newark and find out where they send their kids. And those who have money and opportunity take their kids out of failing school. It's about time that we give some small sliver of immediate hope to parents who are desperate for that in our city. This does not remove in any way the moral obligation or urgency to fix our failing schools in New Jersey. This is not a money issue simply. It's a necessary but not sufficient thing to fix our schools. It does not relieve the crime that is happening every single day in this state as we fail our children. We have work to do. We are not who we say we are when we let down our kids day after day in the state of New Jersey. We want to improve our economy, improve our education system. We want to reduce crime in New Jersey, improve our education system. But right now, in the immediacy, there is an act before every legislator of good conscience right now that will not hurt our reform efforts, will not take away from what's happening in Newark, New Jersey to change our schools. But it will help one child, two children, parents all around my community to give them the same equal shot at the American dream. I stand before many of our schools in Newark, and my heart aches because I am responsible for the failure of what's happening to our children. I show up on street corners and see yet another bloody body have to be buried in my city. I walk in our prisons and visit them and see the littering potential or the failure of our education system. This must stop. This act will not accomplish that change, but this act will empower thousands of New Jersey residents to finally get the opportunities that every elected official has and that many other people have who live in other zip codes. This is a glimmer of hope. This is a step in the right direction. But we still have so much work to do. The real work of making sure every child has a quality teacher in front of them. The real work to make sure that we have more rigorous schools with more time on task. The real work to make sure that we have a system that ultimately is about serving beautiful, brilliant, incredible, God-given gifts, our children, and not the adults and those of us in elected office who want to talk about the problem that have yet to solve it. The only way to make the American dream safe is to start with the children in our nation. Injustice everywhere is a threat to justice anywhere. And I believe this act is about justice. Thank you.